All right, let's dive in. This time we're looking at the Bonfire Protocol.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's this DeFi project, and apparently it's making some serious noise.
Noise how? What's so special?
Well, they've got this whole unique way of handling token burning.
Ooh.
We've got a pretty hefty stack of white papers and docs to go through.
Yeah, I saw that. Looks intense.
It is. And get this, Bonfire's like super connected, both the X28 ecosystem and the TitanX network.
Whoa, so we're not just talking about Bonfire then?
No, it's like this whole web of tokens and protocols all linked up.
That should be fascinating to untangle, see how they all play together.
Right. Should be quite a ride.
Absolutely. And speaking of connections, it all kind of starts with TitanX, right?
Oh yeah, TitanX. What's the deal with that?
Like the bedrock,
Yeah.
Like Ethereum is for a lot of other DeFi projects.
Okay, so it's the base layer.
Exactly. And it's bonded to ETH.
Bonded, meaning?
So its value, it's directly tied to how ETH performs.
Makes sense.
ETH goes up, TitanX follows.
Gotcha. So TitanX is the foundation.
Yep.
And then there are all those other tokens built on it.
Right. 31 of them, to be exact, all hooked into TitanX through these liquidity pools.
So theoretically, if TitanX is doing well,
those other tokens should get a boost too.
like a rising tide.
Exactly. Lifts all boats.
Yeah.
But here's where things get even spicier.
Oh. Do tell.
There's X28.
X28, right?
Which is paired 1.1 with TitanX. So it creates this kind of stable coin within the TitanX world.
Wait, so a stable coin, but within TitanX, not pegged to like the US dollar or something.
Exactly. Now think about it. For savvy investors, this is huge.
How so?
You've got this network of tokens all interconnected.
Right.
Each with their own price going up and down.
Sure.
But then you've got X28 acting like an anchor, a stable point in all that chaos.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. That screams arbitrage, doesn't it?
You got it. Traders could jump in, exploit those price differences between X28 and TitanX.
Or even between those 31 other tokens in TitanX, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a whole new playground for those who know how to play the game.
A high-stakes playground, for sure. But, so, this whole setup, this interconnected web...
That's just the backdrop for Bonfire.
Oh, right. We were getting to that.
Yeah, because Bonfire wants to completely change how we think about token burning.
They've got that smart burn technology, right?
Yep, that's the one. And it's not just randomly burning tokens, it's strategic.
So it's not as simple as just setting fire to a pile of tokens. There's more to it.
Way more.
Yeah.
The magic's in the dynamic burn rate.
Dynamic.
It changes based on what the market's doing.
So it's not fixed?
Nope. When BFX, that's Bonfire's token, when its price drops, the system kicks in, buys and burns more tokens automatically.
Whoa. So it's like buying the dip.
Exactly. Helps prop up the value when things are looking shaky.
Clever. It's like a built-in safety net.
Right. But how does it know when to buy and burn?
Yeah. Is there like an oracle or something making these calls?
Nope. It's all about price triggers. They've got these thresholds, 5 of them.
Threshold.
So for each price reduction, there's a multiplier that activates.
Like what? Give me an example.
Sure. Say the price dips by 1.5%. Boom. A 1.5x multiplier on the burn rate kicks in.
And it scales up from there.
You bet. All the way up to 8x if the price drops 50%.
Wow. So the lower the price goes,
the more aggressive the burning gets.
So it's trying to, I don't know, put out a fire with, well, fire.
Kinda. But here's the crazy part. It's not some central authority doing this.
It's not.
Nope. Any user can actually trigger the buy and burn.
Seriously. Like any user on the network.
Every 8 minutes. Yep.
That's wild. It's like super decentralized then.
Exactly. It's the community calling the shots.
Reminds me of the early Bitcoin days, Everyone can mine.
Except here, instead of mining new tokens, they're burning them.
To control the price. Fascinating. But wait, there's more to Bonfire, right?
Oh, yeah. We haven't even touched on their mining investing system.
That's where the diamond hands thing comes in, right?
You know it.
Yeah.
It's all about encouraging folks to hold long term.
Okay, break it down for me. How does it work?
So mining and investing both happen over 8 days.
8 days.
You mine BFX for 8 days, then those tokens, they get vested for another 8.
Vested meaning, like locked up.
Kinda. Before you can fully claim them without a penalty, gotta wait those 8 days.
Interesting. So what happens if you try to claim early?
There's a penalty, starts at 8% on day 1.
Ouch.
And drops by 1% each day after.
If you wait the full 8 days.
I get all your tokens, no penalty.
Yeah.
But impatient folks, they lose out.
Clever. So it rewards patience. Hence, diamond hands.
You got it. They also have this cool thing with the daily mining supply.
What's that?
starts at 50 million BFX.
50 million, that's a lot.
But it goes down by 1% every day after those first 8 days.
So the longer things run, the fewer new BFX are created.
That means the existing one's potentially more valuable. Yeah.
Supply and demand, classic. But how does the actual mining work? What determines how much someone gets?
It's all about smart burn power, SBP.
SBP, another acronym.
Think of it like your mining strength, like hash rate for Bitcoin.
So more SBP, more BFX you can mine.
You got it. You buy SBP, gives you mining power for those 8 days.
Okay, so I buy some SBP and I can start mining right away.
Yep. But there's a catch here, SBP. It decreases each day by 12.5%.
Oh, so it's like a race against time?
Kinda. You got to maximize those rewards before your SBP dwindles away.
Makes it strategic, for sure. So how do I actually calculate my daily BFX earnings?
Right. So you take your individual SBP, divide that by the total SBP of everyone on the network.
Okay.
Then you multiply that by the total BFX supply available that day.
Sounds kind of complicated.
Not really. Let's say there are 50 million BFX up for grabs that day.
Okay.
And your SBP, it represents, let's say 0.01% of the total network power.
So tiny slice of the pie.
But you'd still earn 5,000 BFX tokens.
Not bad for a tiny slice. So there's a real strategy involved here.
Oh, absolutely. You got to decide how much SBP to buy, when to claim your BFX, the whole shebang.
Weighing the risks and rewards. I get it. And all this mining.
Leads us to something even more interesting.
Which is?
The recycle pool.
Okay, you've officially piqued my curiosity. What is this recycle pool?
It's all about Bonfire's long-term plan, their sustainability.
Sustainability, that's key in the crypto world for sure.
On day 369, something big happens.
Day 369, why that specific day?
That's when minting of new BFX stops completely.
Whoa, so the supply is capped then?
Exactly. 5.22 billion, that's it. From then on, the recycle pool takes over.
Takes over what?
It becomes the main source of funding for all mining.
Wait, so no new BFX are created after day 369?
Right.
But mining continues?
You got it. Sounds crazy, right?
It does. It's like magic almost. How is that even possible?
It's all in how they allocate funds.
Yeah.
Before day 369, during that initial mining phase, 20% of the money from the buy and burn, it goes straight into the recycle pool.
So even while new tokens are being minted?
They're already prepping for the future, setting aside those funds.
Smart. And then once day 369 hits, the recycling phase starts.
That allocation jumps to 50%.
So buy and burn does double duty.
Exactly. Reduces supply, potentially boosts the value.
And keeps this recycle pool topped up.
So mining can keep chugging along.
It's like an ecosystem within an ecosystem. Crazy. But how exactly does this recycle pool fund the mining?
Every day, 4% of the total value in the pool gets released.
To pay out miners.
You got it.
Yeah.
And that percentage, it can go up to 10% based on market conditions.
Oh, so it's flexible.
They built in some wiggle room, to adapt as needed.
Super interesting. But all this mining and burning and recycling.
It takes a lot of liquidity.
Exactly. You need enough BFX floating around for people to trade and all that.
Bonfire's got that covered.
They do.
Oh, yeah. They've got a whole multi-pronged approach to managing liquidity.
Lay it on me.
At launch, they went big on Uniswap v3, create a huge liquidity pool there.
Uniswap, so we're talking decentralized exchange.
The best.
Yeah.
Paired up 500 million BFX with 50 billion X28.
That's a serious chunk of change, but is that enough?
It's a solid start. But they've got two other mechanisms to keep that liquidity growing.
All right, I'm all ears.
For the first 368 days.
Almost a year.
8% of the funds used to start new miners. Remember those 8-day cycles?
Yeah.
That 8% goes straight to the liquidity pool.
So the more people join the mining game,
the more they're actually contributing to the pool.
Makes sense. But what happens after day 368 when the minting stops? Does that 8% keep going?
It drops to 1% after that.
Makes sense. So what's the other mechanism?
This one's really clever. They use the fees generated by the pool itself.
Oh, like the trading fees?
Exactly. 50% of all those fees right back into the pool.
So it's self-sustaining.
Totally. More trading, more fees, bigger pool, attracts more traders, and so on.
Beautiful cycle. But what about the other 50% of the fees?
Burned, baby, burned.
Yeah.
Keeps that deflationary pressure on BFX going strong.
Wow. They really thought of everything, didn't they?
Seems like it. It's all connected.
Right. We've covered a ton. The TitanX connection, the smart burns, the mining, the recycle pool, even how they handle liquidity.
It's a lot to take in, for sure.
It is. What stands out most to you? What's the most innovative part?
It's how seamlessly it all fits together. Like, the smart burn isn't just about deflation. It feeds the recycle pool.
Which then keeps mining going even when new tokens stop.
It's like a perfectly oiled machine, each piece working in sync.
But it does make you wonder, with all this complexity.
What could go wrong?
Exactly. What if one of those pieces breaks? We need to dig deeper, look at those risks.
Agreed. No system is perfect, right? We need to understand the potential downsides too.
For sure. Buckle up, folks. Things are about to get even more interesting.
You're totally right. It's all about those connections and how the system as a whole, reacts to the unexpected.
Exactly. Like, remember we were talking about ETH?
Oh, yeah.
Bonfire's built on X28, X28 relies on TitanX, and TitanX is pegged to ETH.
Right.
So what if ETH tanks? Wouldn't that whole system just, crumble?
Well, yeah, theoretically, a big drop in ETH would hit TitanX hard.
And then that ripples down to X28.
And yeah, likely BFX would feel it too. But that's where Bonfire's smart burn kicks in.
Oh, sorry.
As the BFX price drops, the system's designed to buy and burn more.
So it's like counteracting the drop.
Exactly. Trying to stabilize things.
Like a shock absorber, I like it. But what about those arbitrage opportunities?
Good point.
Could they backfire if the market gets crazy?
It's definitely a possibility. In a stable market, arbitrage, it keeps things in check.
Makes sense.
But when things are volatile, it can actually make the swings even bigger.
Oh, how
Traders jump in trying to exploit every tiny price difference.
And that just throws fuel on the fire.
Kinda, yeah. It's a risky game, especially with crypto.
For sure. High risk, high reward. Yeah. Giving power to the people. Very cool.
More transparency, more community involvement.
But it only works if people actually participate, right?
Absolutely. If only a few people vote, it kind of defeats the purpose.
That's true. It's a responsibility, not just holding the token, but being active.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Maybe other DeFi projects will follow their lead. Who knows?
Could be a game changer for sure. But hey, before we get too far ahead.
Back to the present, right? We were talking about liquidity.
Right.
That initial liquidity pool on Uniswap v3, solid start.
But putting all your eggs in one basket, always a bit risky.
True. Yeah. What if Uniswap has some problem?
Technical glitch, liquidity dries up, who knows?
Bonfire would be in trouble.
Yeah, diversifying is key.
Yeah.
Across multiple exchanges, maybe other solutions.
Spread the risk, makes the system more resilient.
And I think as Bonfire grows, that'll become even more important.
Yeah, expanding their reach, ensuring access for everyone.
I wouldn't be surprised if they partner with other exchanges soon.
Strategic alliances? Gotta stay ahead of the curve.
DeFi's always changing. Gotta adapt or get left behind.
It's all about connection, isn't it? Not just Bonfire itself, but the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. You're investing in the bigger picture, the community, the whole DeFi landscape.
It's more than just the technology.
It's a mindset, a belief in the future of decentralized finance.
I like that. But you know what we haven't talked about?
What's that?
Bonfire's deflationary model, what it means for crypto as a whole.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Challenges the whole idea of inflationary tokens, right?
Gives you a different approach.
Will they coexist?
Yeah.
Will one win out? So many questions.
We could do a whole deep dive on just that.
Maybe we will. But for now, let's wrap up Bonfire.
It sounds good.
So we've explored Bonfire pretty in depth. What's the one thing you really want listeners to remember?
It all comes back to that interconnectedness. Remember, we started with TitanX.
That next 28.
Right, and then zoomed in on Bonfire itself. But they're not separate. Bonfire can't succeed if that whole ecosystem isn't healthy.
It's like, if one part fails,
the whole thing could be in trouble. That's why it's so important. You can't just look at a project on its own.
Gotta see the bigger picture.
The context, not just the tech stuff either.
Oh yeah, what else?
Regulations, how the community feels about it, what's happening in the market overall.
So many factors.
A whole web of things that can impact a project.
Makes you realize this stuff isn't simple.
Definitely not. But that's also what makes DeFi so exciting, right?
Always something new happening, new challenges.
Keeps you on your toes. Yeah. But for those who are willing to put in the work, learn the ropes.
DeFi has huge potential.
Oh, absolutely. Innovation, disruption, changing how finance works.
So, to everyone listening,
keep learning about Bonfire and about DeFi in general.
Don't just stop with what we've talked about today.
Dig deeper, read those white papers, check out other projects.
Get involved in the community.
Exactly. The more you know, the better decisions you can make.
Especially in a world that moves as fast as crypto.
Who knows? Maybe you'll discover the next big thing.
Your own arbitrage strategy, a whole new way of investing.
The possibilities are endless. But always, always
do your research
and never stop learning.
Because DeFi, it's constantly changing.
We're all figuring it out together.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our Bonfire deep dive.
I agree. It's been a fascinating journey.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Keep those brains firing, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.